So, first proper day. So up until today, all that I've really been doing is trying to make a plan of exactly how we're going to do things, where things are going to go, what I need to actually start ordering and getting. And now, I think yesterday we went and ordered and collected some aluminium, and the plan is all of the side strips that are sort of normally in this box unit, these need to come out, and we're going to split the floor section. So this front section or back section here, I've already made a cut, and now what I'm going to start doing then is popping this floor up, because this rear section of floor, at the moment it's the phenolic covered sort of ply, and we want it to be aluminium, so this needs to be a complete aluminium floor section from the back. At the front, that's going to be the living area, so that's going to sort of be the undercore, and it's not really going to get wet and muddy, and it's not really going to get touched. So that front section is going to stay, but we are going to be building a floor above this floor, and this bottom section is going to become storage. So, but for now, we're concentrating on this back section, so I need to remove the boarding from this back section. I need to remove all the rest of the side support rails. These need to come out because we're going to be building a skeleton structure. So my first thing here is really our middle wall that's going to be built out of aluminium. To build this wall, I've got to obviously cut the floor out. I've got to remove obviously the side sections here. So let's get on with it, see how it goes, and then we'll do a little catch up in a minute and make sure everything is going as it should be. And this is basically now going to form the first section of our divide. So this is, we said previously about having a garage at the rear and then the living at the front, and this is going to be the big wall basically. This is going to be the big divider. So that's our first sort of beam in. We're just going to sort of straighten that up so that we know that it's 100% level front to back. I've ended up cutting sections out. I'm going to do the same the other side once my battery's charged up. And basically by keeping this section in, it's actually giving me more strength. The box section that's going to sort of act as the sort of skeleton frame, I think that's obviously going to give me more strength, but keeping these partitions in is actually going to give me even more strength as well. So for the time being, I'm just going to work around them like worst case scenario. If I need to actually cut them out, then I can do. But I think it's going to give me actually more strength in the long run. Cut all the sections, so we've got an upright, a top section, so I'm just going to test fit everything basically now, and then we can start to look at actually getting these welded in place, making sure it's all square. Can't really use a spirit level on this because obviously the box might not be level, so what we've got to do is take reference points and take measurements. So I want the bottom against that wall to be correct, bottom against that wall to be correct, and then the top of that wall against the top section of there to be correct as well. And that's pretty much as best as I'm really going to get. Is I've got to work with what I've got to square it up to everything else. So that is the plan. See whether we can get this up and in place and whether it actually fits or not. Tight. Oh. They're looking good. Again, just need to then square that up, and that's going to basically be how that is. So once I've got some actual measurements now, I can put some marks on the wall, square everything together and actually tack this main frame into place, and then I can start building my uprights into this wall to give it a bit of strength, and that's going to then obviously be boarded from that sort of rear section, boarded from the front section, and then I've got about 3.6 metres of living area. So at the moment it's sort of going to be a washroom, separate shower and toilet in this sort of area, door coming in from that area. We're going to have then a seating area down this side, and as I say, this first sort of section is going to be a lower floor, and then we're going to actually step up and into the sort of kitchen and seating area, and that'll give us a little bit more headroom on the washroom and give us the opportunity. I'm not sure whether we're going to have room or not, but hopefully we're going to have height then to put another little bunk bed up above sort of where you walk in and the washroom area, and then we'll have a sleeper cab over the top. Side sort of L-shaped lounge that's on the side here is going to pull out to make a double bed. We'll have a cut through obviously into the cab. We'll have our sleeper cab or sleeper pod on the top there as well, and then, as I say, our kitchen on this side here. So that's just a rough idea of what I'm thinking at the minute. So having a bit of a nightmare with the welder last night. Basically just kept arcing out to the actual nozzle, so I swapped the nozzle over thinking that that was possibly it, and I've still sort of got a similar problem. So I don't know whether it's the gas, I don't know whether it's the feed rate, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I've got to try and figure that out. So that is really holding me up now, because I've obviously got to weld these pieces in. I need a big clean up now. I need to have a really good clean up now. Everything is looking horrendous. So I think that's going to be my first job this morning, is just to give it a good clean up, and then I'm going to plan out where there's windows going to go on this side. So the next upright, once I've sort of figured the welder out, got the uprights in this middle sort of wall section, is my uprights for this back section, so that I can start paneling this out, start insulating it, making that all good, and then I can move on to this back door then once the parts turn up for that. So I'm going to plan out, I think, and just draw sort of roughly where the windows are going to come, and then where I can put my supports in, and then what's going to sort of tie in with those windows. So that, I think, is going to be my next job, hopefully, once I've sorted the welder and I've sorted all this mess out. So holding the lift on, we've basically got a big bracket with 4 big bolts that hold sort of a main beam section, and then we've got 4 bolts that go through the chassis now. I'm going to attempt to undo the bolts off the side there, I think, but I might just even see whether I can undo the bolts that are on the actual chassis, and that unit then could come off as complete one section. It does connect to the bottom bar here, which also connects to the lights, so I'm going to have to undo. They're a bit loose. Going to have to undo the light units and remove those. Even though we're not going to use these light units, I need to keep the wiring, so that's just going to be the easiest way to do that, is just literally undo those and remove those. I need to take all the wiring out, so that wiring's got to come out, and then it's just trying to find the best way to actually remove it. I think once if I fold the lift actually down, most of the weight, even if I drop it possibly on the electric, I think most of the weight is going to be supported on the floor by the lift, and then I can start undoing either the 2 bolts here either side, but I think they're quite big, so it might be easy for me to undo the chassis bolts, so I might try those. It might just be a bit of figuring it out. So I've got to disconnect the power supply, so this is 24 volt supply. So the new RAM that I've bought to do the back door is a 24 volt RAM as well, so I've got to figure out where that's going to go. But hopefully I can leave the power supply that is powering the ramp currently, and that can supply our new unit. So let's get on with it, start stripping it down and see what happens as we go along. And so that is the lift gone and out of the way, so that basically opens all this space now so that we can fit our new hydraulic ram. Now we've got to figure out exactly how it's going to fit on here, so I'm sort of thinking some sort of bracket off of here, welded onto the sides, coming down, 2 10mm plates maybe welded together either side, the bracket of the bar of the actual hydraulic pump connects into the middle, it's bolted through, and then it can obviously be mounted back on the main chassis rails. Here we can sort of weld into that, even maybe if we used this here going back to it or something. So we've got a few different options of how to give it some structural strength, and actually sort of mounted onto, come forwards, and then just getting the movement of this back door correct. So the back is now starting slowly but surely to take shape. Absolute nightmare. I ended up cutting out the ramp because it was too big, because I hadn't got the measurements for the side pieces for the rear section. So just about now sort of getting it back as it should be. I need to just weld up the rest of the ramp, get that correct, and then we can start to fill in with the fiberglass and bond all this bumper together correctly, do the same up the top, and then let that go off, and then start to look at doing the bodywork on that bumper. And then it's trying to actually get it sort of back watertight, so we've got a skin to put on obviously the rear door, the internal part of the rear door, so when this folds down the top layer, and then we can start fitting out. We've got all the insulation now so that we can start insulating and adhesive all of the walls to the skeleton structure and get the insulation in, then start looking at windows. Got the big roof pod to put on. We've got the steps to go on, and then all of the side panels to sort of infill, and they can then intertwine, really, I suppose, with this rear bumper, and that can all become one and be fiberglass together and hopefully make it look correct. So you start to see here where I had to cut off the old sections of bumper. I've had to, it's quite thin here, I've tried to reuse the original section that I cut out, which wasn't ideal, but I'm running low on that metal, so I need to weld in a load of extra supports into that just to shore it up, because I was literally just burning straight through, because it's been heated up and grinded down and cut and all the rest of it. I'm literally just burning straight through there, so I'm going to have to make some fillet plate pieces to go into here, clean up all of this terrible welds. The fiberglass, all this just wipes straight off the fiberglass, it's not damaged any of the fiberglass. And then all of these joints can all be then filled in and started to be bonded up and make it as one. And then we've also got to then start to look at the actual ram for this rear door, to put the rear door up nice and easily just off of a button. So we're getting there. It's been sort of probably 3 days going backwards with trying to sort this ramp out, cutting it down, trying to get the sizings right, trying to get all of the sizings right for this rear bumper and get that fitted into place. So we've got it sort of somewhere near now, so it's coming along slowly but surely. I've been working on myself. I really try my best to change, but sometimes in a love fade, right? Maybe we should stay in bed, pretend that everything's the same, just a little play pretend, right? But baby, we're changing, we can't really help it. We might just enjoy it now. We said forever, forever means nothing if we don't give it all we got. We can cry when it's over. 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 Really had a good run though, but maybe you would prove me love. We will travel different roads from now. We said forever, forever means nothing if we don't give it all we got. We can cry when it's over. Hopefully you've enjoyed our little catch up on the self-build project, and make sure you've hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time. So thanks for watching. I'm Mark at the Caravan Place.
Oh, you got a bad case of dandruff.
Just try and cut this side section there.
Is that it?
Yeah,
You're not doing any talking about what you've just done?
not until I got it out.
Okay then.
But we can get the side panel pushed out, so shall we do that now, or should we wait for the next video? Let's wait for the next video.